So yesterday, yes, I did see the video that came out of the individual that is allegedly, at first by fans at one point, accused of claiming and taking bragging rights for having harmed Tentacion. You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. You know how it goes. The description has the forms of helping us reach our goal. I ask for all commenter nation and new commenters. Once you drop your comment, your commenter nation. Once I take your question, you're an original at commenter nation. So I appreciate all the support, and we'll continue to build on what we already have. So I seen an individual by the name of Soldier Kid actually did a freestyle of the Tentacion said. Now, here's my thing, and we're going to get objective first. A lot of artists do freestyles over mainstream artist beats. The special here is that this was the individual at one point first considered to have been responsible for Tentacion's death. That is the catch here. So for him to come out and do it, I read through all the comments. There were a lot of harsh comments. There were way more harsh comments than there was support for what he did. By the time I seen it, I think he had nearly 100,000 views, but it was 2K likes and 1K dislikes. So that's about 2 to 1 easily, but let's see, it still was a lot of dislikes for an artist. Now, normally when an artist drops a freestyle over it, being the large audience that Worldstar provides, it's not that much of a gap. It's not like half the likes or dislikes. That's not normal. So we have a lot of individuals still finding what he's doing disrespectful, being his stance in the first place. Even though he said R.I.P. Tentacion, was that enough? You took clout off the situation, and are you continuing to take clout? One thing I said to artists is don't build your profile off of dissing others. But the fact he did this, will this harm his chance of building a successful career? And we still don't know how the people that were friends around Tentacion feel about him. Again, you could say it was just Tentacion fans, but the thing about this is when people start to understand the narrative of why people feel a certain way, this could easily build hatred in their minds for who he actually is and what he was choosing to do. Everything's a choice, and this was a choosing of his to start his career. Was he truly involved somehow, or was it just a clout chase? We don't have any direct information to declare one or the other, but how was he acquitted of having actually been involved in the situation? How did he get out of the narrative of being close to where the slaying happened and taking a photo in red mask? How did him and his friend get out of that? I mean, I would understand if they released the outside video and it showed that he wasn't a part of it, or the inside video and showed he was never there. But we know a lot of these local artists were long-time affiliates of the whole situation of Riva Motorsports. They were buyers, they were partakers, they were customers. And we don't have proof other than seeing them on four-wheelers and dirt bikes on Instagram and things. We can only presume they got it from one of the most notable places to retrieve these items. Did this situation somehow boost sales or notoriety around Riva Motorsports? We even have to examine that. How did the notoriety and the attributes boost the revenue of this place of business? There's many, see, again, for plots of this level to even say a setup, there's no way a setup would occur without individuals affiliated understanding the implications of this. There's many different ways that things happen. There's many different ways that we see crime occurs. But at the same token, we have to give respect to the fact that they may not have been involved. At the same time of seeing evidence that says they may be involved, because it needs to be proved without a shadow of a doubt of guilt. Guilt can't just be proved off of one or two things. It has to be, let's say, an occurrence that's put into a timeline that accusations can be respected. So we haven't even seen a time of death. of his body, a toxicology report. So we can't place a time of death other than the day that we're presuming it happened when it was on the news. Now, how many times have we seen an upload just like this? I can upload this a day later and you could think I did it today. But at the same time, how are we able to place crime in that way if we do not have readings of temperatures, understandings, an exact death certificate, and a cause was not listed? Why? Why would this be okay? Why would him trying to clout chase in the beginning be okay, but then knowing, okay, so he knows how fans feel about him, how people who are affiliated with Tentacion feel about him, but he's okay with doing a freestyle over his specific beat. He could have did any beat. There were a lot of songs that have come out since Tentacion's slaying. Why does he choose this beat? What does it gain him? Why is it acceptable? Why is it respectable? Who respected it? Who behind his management said it was a good idea? And was it just for the clout of the situation that occurred with Tentacion? Or did he have good reason to do the beat? Did he just think it was a good beat? He could have did anyone's beat, any artist's beat, but he chose that specific one. That is a question a lot of people should be asking themselves. Why did he choose that beat? Did he know it would get him the notoriety again? Why couldn't he gain it off of a beat that was made from scratch? It's a lot of questions, and it leads to speculation of character more than anything. There's no way to outwardly say because he did this, he's involved. The only thing that can outwardly say he's involved or he did this for clout or some type of speculation would be to examine the fact that he came out first and he literally felt that way. Now, the fact he felt that way and kind of devised himself in that manner, do we believe that he had intentions that were not good? Do we also believe that he could have done more in the situation than we know of? Well, all of this is up in the air. But at the same time, I do believe it was disrespectful to do it knowing what situation he was in prior to this current one. You knew that people had malice against you doing what you did. You knew that you didn't have any good intentions in the situation, or you wouldn't have come out and let speculation grow around you being involved. But at the same time, you had no problem releasing this song, and you didn't even have an argument for your stance in the situation. And he wasn't affiliated with you before he left, from what we know, unless he has more information to the relationship. But at the same time, we see his affiliation with some of the suspects in some way, shape, or form around the situation. Why? Why, if you're affiliated with suspects, would you even come out to do something of the sort? Now, I had a lot of people jumping in my comments saying he did it, he's this, he's that. We don't have proof of that. But we do have character here that we can judge. That is our freedoms. So we can freely judge people's character and what they're doing and say to ourselves that, look, he shouldn't have done that. I don't know why he did that. But at the same time, I do see that he saw it as a clout move. Why pull clout off of a deceased rapper? Why not gain clout off of your own stance, off of your own making, off of your own work, off of something you contribute to the game? But you did it off of the back of someone else who you were accused of having been a violent assistance to, because of something you put up shortly after he was deceased. And there's a lot of symbols and symbology that fits to his knowing of the situation. Not only that, shortly after that, we've seen others try and pull clout on video. He was one of the individuals who would have been examined as somebody was responsible for this. But he was cleared. But we don't know how. Was it through social media, just accepting the fact he did it? How did he get cleared of the situation? You see, that's my only issue if I had an issue. It would be how he was cleared of the situation, how he reacted to the situation, and what he was actually doing in the scenario. How did he fit? How did he fit? That's my problem. And that's the only thing that I think would be in question about who he is and what he means to the game. What does he actually mean to the game? Is what he did considered just normal clout chasing, or does it provide some type of social evidence or indicator that this man had more to do with it than we know of? I had a overwhelming amount of individuals throughout all my comments mentioning his name. That's my thing. And I don't understand how this didn't go any further. How before they even collected the men, they did not, from my understanding, even publicly denounce his involvement. They literally just let it go. But they chased down these 4 men from scratch. How is that possible? We don't even see it. My commenters below, mark down if you think he's involved or not, or what you think about him doing his freestyle on Worldstar to this situation. Do you find it disrespectful, or do you find it appropriate? Do you think he has freedom of speech to do so, or do you think because he was once implicated, he should have left it alone and pushed forward in a new direction? Because it was just kind of a shock to me that he thought this would be smooth, that he even chose to go this route, being he knew his involvement was in question. That's my issue. If your involvement's in question in a situation, wouldn't you want to be as far away from the artist as you can? And regardless if you said, oh, RIP this dude before, it's still your intentions and what you were rapping about, you know what I mean? One of the lines he had was, I stood here, I ain't never been hit before, basically. And that's not verbatim, but basically he's saying he ain't never been shot. He ain't never been touched. But we know the rapper that made the song had been shot, allegedly. So was that a diss? See, that's the problem. Same thing with 6ix9ine. It's hard to tell diss from being truthful when you've been implicated in the crime itself, especially when it's a murder of some sort. So if you're mocking it through lyrics, and it sounds like you're mocking it, it's going to come out that way, even though you have freedom of speech. So was he mindful of this? Should he have? Let me know in the comments below. Go check it out. It's on Worldstar. Let me know what you think. It has Soldier Kid and it's called Sad. You know, and that was the song of Tentacion. More to come. You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved.